Jennifer's a success sax. That was a very beautiful one. Just hold on a minute there. Let's get to begin the show proper, and then we'll have a little chat very, very quickly. Hello, long time no see. How have my people been? I hear you have been doing Medley show without me, right? I hope you had a good time with Marianne. Well, I'm back, and we're going to do this together. For the next 1 hour, it promises to be very exciting and, of course, really entertaining, because today we'll be celebrating children. Well, did I forget to mention my name? My name is Cecile Egbele. It's the Children's Day edition of the program, and I have with me a co-presenter, a guest presenter, and I'll let him introduce himself. Hello, young man.
Hello, my name is David Bright.
David Bright. Okay, how old are you?
12 actually, but I'll be 13 by July.
12 is going to be 13 by July. You're in what class?
I'm in just 3, ma.
You're in just 3?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, cool. Just quickly, before I go to talk to the ladies, let me just ask you something. Have you decided what you want to be in the future?
Yes, ma.
What? You have 2 options. Okay, let me hear it.
Not okay. I want to be a doctor.
Option 1, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's option 2?
A lawyer.
A lawyer. So why a doctor?
Because I want to benefit in the way Nigeria can help to save more lives.
Yes. You know many doctors are leaving the country, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you don't plan to when you become a doctor. He smiles. And why lawyer?
I have a gift of talking and opposing a particular motion. So.
Okay, this is the point where I clap. It's really amazing. He says he has this thing about trying to oppose a particular motion and having his say. That's very good. Ladies, I'll ask you the same questions. What classes are you?
I'm just S2. I'm year 6, primary 6.
Primary 6. Okay, just primary 6. Primary 6, let me start with you. Have you decided what you want to be? Jenny?
Yes.
Okay, well, tentatively. So what is it? I did 1 or 2 options?
2.
Okay, let's hear.
Well, I want to be a musician, singing songs and playing instruments. And the second option is to be an artist. I also have a gift of sketching and painting.
Are you serious? You have some work to show me later? Some little ones you've done? Okay, I'd like to see that. And if I say she sketch me, can you do that? Can you try?
Yes.
You can try. All right, so that's good. Sass, let's hear you.
I want to be a doctor.
Doctor. Do you have any option B just in case? Okay, doctor. Why? Mom is doctor, dad is doctor?
No. Because I want to be able to save people's lives. Like when they are sick, I want to be there to help them and treat them and benefit to the country.
And Jakpa?
No.
You are not going to Jakpa. You know what's Jakpa, right?
Yes.
Yes, so our doctors, what they are doing right now. Anyhow, so it's really nice having the both of you. I want you to think something that you want to play for us again, because I really love what you guys did. Put your heads together. Let me have a quick chat with David. So, our topic is funding education in Nigeria. So, do you think education is properly funded in the country?
Not really, actually.
Why do you say so?
Because some schools are charging a whole lot of money just for some particular classes.
That's private schools, right?
Yes, sir.
So, let's say if you were president, what would you do for education of Nigerian children?
I'll try and help to like make education freer and more free in Nigeria. Like reduce the price so that a lot of children can be freely educated. Like when I was coming here, I saw some children who were supposed to be in school. They were actually hawking on the road, and I didn't like the idea.
Okay, cool. So you think education should be funded and maybe made free for more children to go? Have you seen or have you had experiences of a school you've visited outside yours, or some child you've seen besides one you just talked about that makes you feel like, wow, how would children be learning in this kind of environment? I think this should be done. Are there some instances like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Please share one with me.
Okay, it's not really a private school. It's a government school. It's Jabi. It's located in Jabi. So when I went there, it wasn't really nice. Their bathrooms were actually messed up. So children wouldn't have free comforts when you're there. So, and the classrooms were a bit small, so children were actually enclosed up.
Ooh. All right, so I hope those in authority, the government, and all those concerned are hearing what this child is saying. These classes are closed up, they have very poor bathroom, and I guess ventilation was really not so good. So that's part of what the Nigerian child is talking about, why education should be funded and funded properly. I have a guest. Have you heard of UNICEF? You know of UNICEF?
Yes.
Okay, you know part of what UNICEF does for the Nigerian children. So we'll have a guest who will join us shortly here, and together we'll ask many of these questions, and let's see how they can help us. Share some of these stories with her when she goes to get some. Ladies, are you ready for me? Okay, I'm looking forward. What are you singing?
Chosen Generation.
Chosen.
Sinach.
By Sinach. Okay, let's hear that. I'm walking the world, walking the road, fighting the left of the world. I'm walking the world, walking the road, fighting the left of the I know who I am. That is really, really good. We still look forward to hearing more from you both. David, but you sing by chance? Like, can you attempt singing later? I'm not putting you on the spot right now.
Okay, ma'am.
You can attempt it. All right, meanwhile, let's take a break. When we get back from this break, the rest of the Medley show will continue.
I want to go to school. I want to be healthy. I want to be safe. I want my rights to be protected. We have dreams too. We have rights to education. We have rights to be safe. We have rights to be heard. As an incoming government, I assure you that children will be the number one. Children! We rule the world!
Okay, like I told you earlier, we will have two guests who will be joining us on set, and I guess very soon we'll have them walk into the studio, so that'll be in just a few minutes. Very quickly, David, have I asked you the question if you were president? Okay, you've answered the question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are president. Now, we have a president, governors coming in very soon. What would you advise? What would you suggest if they ask you, what do you think the government should do maybe in the first 1 week or 1 month in office?
Due to the state of the country, I would like them to make more job opportunities, because there are a lot of youths that are walking on the road having nothing to do.
I asked you this question because we went on the streets and we sought to know from some children what they would like the incoming government to do. So that's going to be what we'll be seeing right now. When we get back, David, get ready. We're going to put our guest on a hot seat. All right, so let's quickly take this vox pop.
What I want the president-elect to do for Nigerian children is to build more schools. Like now, we have some schools where in a class we can have the number of students in the class is shooting up to 100 or more. So if the government build more schools, it can decongest the existing ones and reduce the population of the students in a class.
What I would like the new president-elect to do is to employ highly qualified teachers. Because as the saying goes, children are the leaders of tomorrow. And if we have highly qualified teachers, we'll be able to learn good and accurate things to become good leaders in the future.
We should bring new facilities to the government schools, e.g. the ACs and fans, because other students and other new chairs. Some students aren't comfortable while sitting down when the teachers are teaching.
I need the president-elect to build more schools for the children and to help in the salary of the school.
All right, they need the government to build more schools. Indeed, build more schools. Many children from Nigeria are really doing very well. You know, many of us, I went to a government school. For many of us who went to government schools, we know how well government school were then. We come out very tops in our grades and all. I really don't know how it is right now, but we think with more funding from the government, with private bodies, international organizations, I believe we will do pretty well. Nigerians are very knowledgeable people. They are very intelligent people globally all around the world, but I think funding their education has also often been a problem. Many children have been out of school, like David said at his opening. Some children are out of school. You see them on the road hawking instead of being in school, and he wonders why. Well, this will be part of the focus of our discourse on the program today. It's time to meet my guest. So who I start with? I start with the UNICEF lady here, and she is the Chief of Education, UNICEF Nigeria, Sadhna Pandey.
That's excellent.
Sadhna Pandey. Sadhna, thank you for coming around.
Thank you so much, and it's fantastic to be here.
Yes, fantastic to have you on. Sitting right next to Pandey, we have Irene Bangwell. Yes. Irene Bangwell is a co-founder of Knox 100 Naira a Day School, located in Kuje.
Yes, good to be here.
Nice to have you. Have you heard of Knox 100 Naira a Day School?
Unfortunately not, but I'm really excited to
hear about it. Yes, it's really great that we get to talk about it today.
Yes.
Well done.
Okay, David, you want to throw the first question or I throw? Okay, let me just go first. Let me start with Knox 100 Naira a Day School. Mm-hmm. I would like you to just, by opening, I visited your school, and 2 years ago, I think that's when I first went there, and I wondered, like, is there a school like this 100 Naira a day? Yes. Like, how does it work? Volunteers, people come in, and I say, okay, I only have 1,000 Naira, I can sponsor a child for 10 days. Is that how it works? Yes. Explain.
So I'm happy Children's Day, by the way, to all the kids. We're so happy to be celebrating them and taking the moment to spotlight issues affecting children. So again, my name is Irene Bangwell. In September 2019, my co-founder and I went into the Kuje community to set up our first Knox 100 Naira a Day School, designed for kids who have been out of school, at risk of dropping out, or from homes where they're really struggling financially. So what it really, we ask them to pay 100 Naira a day, and for that, and when they pay, they get books, uniform, lunch, the girls get monthly sanitary pads, and they get a STEM education.
Wow.
Yes, so when everybody goes, wow,
How do you pay your teachers?
So that's where the real deal is. So we designed a co-sponsorship model. What it actually takes to keep a child in school at the NOSC for one term is 66,000 naira. So we called their families to say, just pay 6,000. And then that 6,000 you can pay 100 naira a day, 500 naira a week, 2,000 naira a month, while we look for other people who make up the 60,000. So other people are also, contributing any amount that they want. But if 10 people donate 100 naira a day, they get to keep one child in school. So we've tried to make the co-sponsorship really flexible. People can fully sponsor kids. Some people can also sponsor partially. But I'd like you to know 4 years later, many families cannot afford 100 naira a day.
Okay, pause it there. I mean, let's take all that in. Pandey, isn't that something else? Well, now, quickly react to that before I ask you a question.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic, that ordinary Nigerians are getting involved to solve this crisis on out of school. And you can see that innovative models can be implemented to bring about change, not just in the country as a whole, but in an individual child's life.
Absolutely.
And so congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'll take one question quickly, David, to Pandey, then you ask your question. UNICEF is involved in education in Nigeria in many ways. I know you have this, what you call it, UNICEF pillars. Learning to know, to do, to live, and to be. Explain UNICEF business exactly in simple terms in Nigeria.
So UNICEF is here on behalf of the children of Nigeria. We're invited by the government to support it in delivering on the right to education. So we are here celebrating children's right to education. And so UNICEF is a partner in that endeavor. Within the education space, we do 3 things, very straightforward. Number 1, we want to get every single child into school.
Every single child.
Number 2, we want to make sure that every single child is learning, whether they are in school or whether they are out of school. And number 3, we want to make sure that this is a sustainable model. How do we do that? We strengthen government systems to make sure that they can deliver quality education to every single child across the country. Very simple mandate.
Okay.
All right, David, your question?
Okay. I would like to ask her.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Why 100 naira a day? Because isn't 100 naira too much?
Much?
You know,
did you say
people?
The kids? Okay, that's
so we were trying to pick the price for what the fee should be. We were trying to give what typically government schools also charge as fees. And government schools in the FCT charge between 4,009 and 5,900 as formal fees. There might be other little things going around. So we're looking at, number 1, we wanted a system where it's just about the same thing like if you were to go to a public school. But more than that, 100 naira a day is actually just like a face value, so that there's something that they're paying. Like I said earlier, many families cannot pay, but it doesn't keep their children in school. So one of our core pillars at the NOSC 100 naira a day school is that once a child gets admitted, whether their parents can pay the 100 naira fee or not, they're never driven home for fees, they're never thrown out, because we really want to guarantee that children from low-income families get 6 years secondary education. So we're secondary school. So even though I agree with you, I'm happy you can see from the perspective that 100 naira can be a lot for some people. But what we're just saying is that once the kids start, whether they're able to pay it or not, their fees are covered. And we also have sponsors who come in and say, look, I want to cover the entire 66,000. But once in a while, we want to see their own parents make effort to contribute, because there's a principle in community development that says that the people you're solving the problem for have to participate in their own solution. So as their parents contribute, whether consistently or not, it kind of makes us know that they really value this process. But I'm glad that you in particular understand that 100 naira can be a lot.
Okay.
All right, Pandey, you say you work closely with the Nigerian, UNICEF tried to work closely with the Nigerian government. So tell us, so far, how impactful has it been?
It's been pretty impactful. And now I'm going to talk about a program that we ran for 10 years in the northwest of the country in 6 states. So that program was funded by FCDO and was implemented by the federal government together with the 6 state ministries of education. and we were able to bring in 1.5 million girls into the schooling system.
1.5 million girls.
1.5 million girls into the schooling system. But the program was just not successful at a school level. It was successful at a societal level. So what we were able to do is to decrease early marriage rates, early pregnancy rates, increase youth literacy rates. Okay. So what's the magic? Here's the recipe. If you want to get children into school in droves, number one, you've got to deal with poverty. That means you must put cash in the hands of families. Yes. When you give mother cash, she doesn't spend it on braiding her hair or doing her nails. She sends her girls to school. You combine that with very strong community mobilization with traditional leaders, with religious leaders. Then you give the school a school grant. Even though schooling is free in Nigeria, there are direct and indirect costs that parents are being made to cover because the school is receiving no money from the state. The last thing is you attend to the quality of education. You focus on early grade reading and early grade numeracy. So let's recap the 4 things. Number 1, cash in the hands of families. Number 2, community mobilization. Number 3, a school grant to fix the infrastructure. Number 4, early grade reading and numeracy. You bring in children in droves into the schooling system.
Cash in hand, and cash in hand, you say you give this cash to the wives, to the mothers. Yeah, so are you not worried? Because I know when the Nigerian government was doing the conditional cash transfer program and they were giving this cash to the women, some of the women I interviewed said, oh, when the government leave, their husbands bully them and take the money. Could that be some of the reasons why Irene has said that many people are still not in school?
Wow. It could be. The extent of poverty is really high in Nigeria, and it's multi-dimensional poverty, right? So many factors coming together to make families pretty poor. But we've done an independent evaluation of this work in the northwest of the country, and we've replicated it with another intervention, very similar, testing the same thing. It's highly effective. When you give money to mothers, mostly, and these might be anecdotal cases where the money is taken by the father, etc. But in the majority of cases, the mother uses the money to send the child to school, she puts a better quality meal on the table, and she makes that money last. She starts a little business, a sewing business, and she's then able to sustain her girl going to school.
Okay, well, that's a pretty good one. We'll talk a little more, but quickly, let's take this break. When we get back from this break, we'll have our conversation will go on to another level.
The most inspiring aspects of Children's Day is witnessing the happiness and sense of belonging that it brings to children with disabilities. There is a wide array of activities and performances that celebrate the talents and abilities of all the children with disabilities. From dance and music to arts and games, every child is given the opportunity to showcase their unique skills. It's also a chance for children without disabilities to interact with their peers, who may have different abilities from theirs, hereby fostering empathy, kindness, and acceptance.
Showing me around like I lost my way, telling all your friends and I'm being real. They be singing me out on the people.
The true spirit of this day lies in recognizing the potential and worth of every child, including those with disabilities.
Do your work, Peter.
We can create a world where every child's dreams can come true.
So you have, you still have question for Have you asked Panda a question?
No.
Really. Okay, but you're going to sing. What song do you want to sing? If I ask you to sing later, I want the artist to see if they know it so that they can prepare for it.
Bigger Every Day by Moses Bliss.
Do our artists today know Bigger Every Day by Moses? Please think about it if you know it. We're going to play that together. All right. So, ladies, you mentioned the issue of dropping out. 4 years you said after. Many parents are still not able to send their child to school. Lack of sponsorship. Are we not coming out enough? What are you doing? Do you have internet? You have partners. What's the progress so far? And what do you think should be done? Very quickly.
So first and foremost, it's been 4 years, but now we have grown in partnerships. Nigerians and individuals and organizations have been mind-blowingly supportive. I think the average Nigerian cares about the next generation, and so even at Children's Day, we want children to know that we're all believing in them, because our future is as bright as their potential is nurtured. So it's been 4 years. Right now, we started out, the first year we had 1 child sponsored out of 30, second year 5 kids sponsored out of 63, the third year 33 out of 82, and we have about 107 kids now, and about 103 of them are currently being sponsored. So we've seen a lot of support from individual Nigerians. And while I'm being asked to speak about what we're doing at the North School, I want to commend organizations like UNICEF and what they're doing, because without their interventions in this country, I don't know what our education will look like. So I love the model they've presented, and it's been proof. During COVID, we had to support some parents at the North School to do some business, and we've seen the impact and stability it brings to the home, even if it doesn't translate to a lot of thousands of naira, but it makes a big difference. And so I want to celebrate the work that UNICEF is already doing. Thank you.
All right, so Pandey, you commended her, now she's commending you. That's good, that's how it should be. All right, so you've heard from her. So what's your plan next? And coupled with the fact that we have government coming in, yeah. So what areas or strategic areas would you want the government to take a look at where you can also come in?
So the Nigerian government has done a lot to increase access, to schooling, but you've got a growing child population, right? So the demand for education is going to increase dramatically in the next 50 to 100 years. So really, we've got to buckle down and do much more to get children into school and to keep them there. Unfortunately, Nigeria is spending very little on education. Globally, the benchmark is between 4 to 6%. Nigeria is spending 1.2% of GDP. That's woefully low and far lower than other African countries are spending on education. So we really need to advocate strongly with the new administration to increase the spending in the social sector and in particular in education. Number 2, what money you do have needs to be spent much more efficiently, right? Countries that have not achieved universal enrollment, so every child is not in school, should be spending between 45 to 50% of the budget on primary education.
Okay.
Nigeria is spending 28% of its budget on primary education. Similarly, with the level of development you have, you should be spending 10% on tertiary education. Nigeria is spending 30% on tertiary education.
How many percent?
30%.
30.
It should be spending 10. So the pyramid is inverted. The pyramid is inverted, and this is something without any new money coming into the system, you can course correct immediately.
Okay.
The last two things I will say in terms of domestic financing. In a situation where you have large levels of poverty, very high levels of poverty and inequality, it does not help the society if you're distributing the money equally between the states. We need to distribute the money equitably. So depending on the population size in a state, depending on the level of poverty, you give more money. Right? So there's a big difference between equality and equity. We are focusing on equality, but actually we should be focusing on equity.
All right, Pandey, thank you very much for your thoughts there. I'll get back to talk about the theme when we get back on the discussion. But our girls are here, Success, Sass, and Jenny Vibes. All right, what do you have for us now?
We are the world.
Hey, famous Michael Jackson guy, we know the song now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this.
We are
I think very much. You mentioned you wanted something later. I hope you guys are ready. You play that for us later when he's ready. I really wanted to hear you both sing. Please pass the trumpet. I want to hear their voices.
No, I mean, you shouldn't do that, you know. Some of our voices are for bathroom use.
Oh, you're like me, you're a fantastic singer in the bathroom.
Yes.
Monday, tell me. We are three singers, very good at in the bathroom. Ask our neighbors.
Yes.
All right, so now you have a question, David. Let's hear you.
Okay. I would like to ask you.
Me again?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the future, are you planning to move your school to other parts of the country and states?
Exactly.
You are a brilliant young mind. Just a few weeks ago, do you know that an international organization, UNESCO, even UNICEF, I think, said that we have about 20 million kids out of school in Nigeria. So it means that we can't be content with having one NUSC school. So what we're doing in Kuje is getting like a model. We plan to take it to as many communities as possible, especially rural communities.
Okay.
Yes, so we're going to move the NUSC school around. So right now, we're trying to do a proof of concept. The proof of concept is to say, this is what works. You heard when Pandey was talking? She said they worked for 10 years. They now have what works. So that's what we're trying to do in Kuje. So we're going to take it all over the place because we believe that all Nigerian children, regardless of the backgrounds, they're born into have potential, and education is the tool to ignite it. Okay, so we're going to go around.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to ask you, Pandey. You said the government, your company was in the north side. So I've been curious to know the 6 states. Can I please hear them?
Right. So let me see if I remember all of them. So it is Kano, Katsina, Zamfara, Kebbi, and I forgot the last one. Sokoto. There we go, Sokoto. Yes. So 6 states in the north of the country.
Okay, that's good.
All right, share with us, what are some of the experiences of the children there that really struck you while you were there?
Well, I've had the opportunity over the last 1.5 years to travel to different parts of the country, you know, and many of my colleagues had been working there prior to me arriving. And when you go to the school, you see children who are bright-eyed and what I would call bushy-tailed. They're really excited about going to school. They're in their uniform, they've got their backpack, their little school shoes, and they're walking into school. And then they come into a classroom and the walls are bare.
Yes.
There's nothing on the walls of a classroom. Now, if you want to learn to read, write, and count in the first 3 years of your schooling life, you need a print-rich environment. You need books. Every child needs to have a book from which they read from. Similarly, the teacher needs to have a lesson plan that says, this is what I'm going to teach today, this is the objective, etc.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this is not the case. Now, in these types of programs that we work in to improve literacy and numeracy, we make sure that the teacher firstly understands the science of reading, writing, and counting.
Okay.
So he or she is fully prepared before he stands in front of these children. Number two, we make sure that appropriate reading material is available.
Yes.
And most importantly, in local languages. Because all of the evidence from around the world tells us that children learn best in the first 3 years in their home language, right? So we make sure that the teacher has these materials available, the learner has these materials available, and we make sure that a coach is coming along. It could be a district official coming along to give support to the teacher, to watch how the lessons are being delivered, and then say, this went well, this maybe we need to adjust slightly in the next lesson.
Some kind of review, feedback.
Yes.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And then we also monitor how the child is doing.
Yes.
You can't wait for 6 years before you assess how the child is performing.
Yes.
As the teacher is going around, he's giving a quiz, she's asking some questions, etc. She then understands what the child has actually learned, and she adjusts the pace accordingly.
Absolutely.
So these are the types of things we've been doing. Some kids, very enthusiastic, we just need to give them an opportunity.
All right. Yes, I believe that. I will still get back to you. Success and Jenny, if you were president, what would you do for the Nigerian child in regards to education?
I would give them free education for some period of time. I'll give them the things they need for the education, like books, the uniform, socks, things to wear, writing materials. And I will try to move around and see those children that are struggling and help them with some essential things for their day-to-day life, like food, and maybe change their life, give them a better place of living.
Okay. That's
very precise. Yeah.
So, Jenny.
Well, what I would do would be I would make public and government schools all around Nigeria to have free tuition. So children from all over Nigeria who their parents can't be able to pay will be able to enter school, and then again the teachers will be paid by the government, and then there will be no need for all the other stuff, and then the children their learning process will be provided, and then they'll be coming to, and then if I was president, I would be coming to each school and be seeing what they're doing.
That's a good one. From time to time, you have to just go around and check. I like your presidency. Okay, so Irene and Pandai, let's take a look at the theme for this year. You said it's more money for primary education.
Yes.
Is more money the problem, Irene?
In Nigeria, yes. And I'll give you critically. Okay. I work in education. Did you hear what Pandey said about having language-rich environment for children to learn? It means that there are books in classes. It means there are posters, there are decorations, there are videos, there are audiovisual resources. Those things are not created. They're not, you have to spend money on them. And so I'm sitting here as a secondary educator saying, I'm seeing a lot of children coming out of primary schools, public primary schools, unable to read. And I've spoken with teachers in public schools, and these kids don't have books. They there are no resources. They have computer rooms that are locked up, perpetually locked up. So I think there's more money, but in Nigeria, I don't want to say just more money. We need to track. There has to be accountability. There has to be a tech-driven way of knowing where money is going. We have to follow the money. There is a need for money to go into primary education, but we have to follow the money.
Yeah, when you agree to the fact that more money is the problem, and I also remember you saying that you have quite a number of sponsors, but there are still children not enrolling. So how could more money, if the sponsors are there, but the children are not there?
We don't have a problem of enrollment. I didn't say that.
Okay.
So we admit 30 kids every September. So for example, we've started the pool for next. Do you have an idea how many low-income families are looking for anyone that could help them with their children's education, especially in the FCT? We're not talking about communities where parents are saying, I don't want. So we don't even have an enrollment problem. And even when sponsors come to say the nurse school as a private sector cannot give the extent of resources that the government was the driver of education. For instance, look at what happened in Osun State. A governor gave kids tablets to learn. As a private educator and charity, you may not be able to go that extent. So there's need for funding in education is crazy. Do you know how much teachers earn? Do you know how discouraged and disconnected teachers are? And these are the teachers you're asking to go online. They're taking courses with their money to improve their skills to give to the Nigerian child. So there's need for money to go into primary education, but that money has to be followed. We are Nigerians, so we have to follow the money.
Okay, so Pandey, I will ask you the same question, the theme of this year. Is more money the problem? I'll ask you a double parent question. Teachers, especially in areas you're working, are teachers also part of, I'm trying to use the problem, because I hear in some places, I don't know how true, that teachers teach English in their local dialect. Like, I don't know, tell us about teachers and funding.
So I spoke earlier about money in education. There is no doubt, right, that Nigeria is spending very little money on education. And with that level of spending, you will not get a return on that investment. So there is a need to dramatically increase the amount of money being spent on education. There's no doubt about that. But money is never enough, right? It is an essential but not enough to change the system. So you need a baseline to get everybody to a certain level, but if you want to turn learning quality around, so what learning outcomes you get, you need more than that. And the heart of an education system, whether we like it or not, are teachers, right? They are the engine room of an education system. Firstly, you need enough teachers, right? There should be between 1 to 30 to 1 to 40 in terms of the ratio of teacher to learners. But we've got classrooms in Nigeria that are 1 to 90, 1 to 120. So what can the teacher do? So what we're engaging in, this is not a learning environment. This is crowd control, right? It makes it very
David mentioned a solution. What did you just say?
I know schools, though, of that problem.
You know schools of that?
Yes. Even in the FCT.
Yes. So, overcrowding, right? So we don't have enough teachers. Secondly, the teachers are not well qualified, right? So many of them are standing in front of children. They themselves don't know well enough how to read, write, and count, and yet they're trying to teach a child how to do this.
I don't have a job, that's why. So I got a teaching job. I just picked up a job. So I mean, that's the situation. I mean, I'm looking for a job. Last time, there's one teaching job. Oh, teaching job. Okay, fine. You just go there and just in front of the class, and you're now wondering, okay,
dangerous.
What do I say next?
Very dangerous.
The majority of teachers are well-meaning. They do the absolute best. I come from a family of teachers.
Same here.
My father would take money out of his pocket to take a child to a nurse if the child is sick, to give the child some food if the child is hungry. This is what the majority of teachers do. There is a small percentage that are getting away with a lot of nonsense, but the majority do the right things. But many teachers in Nigeria do not receive their salary at the end of the month. I've met a teacher, they've gone 5 months without their salary. So these are the kinds of challenges our teachers are facing. It's systemic problems, right? And we need the money to make sure that our teachers are paid well, but they're also paid every single month.
Okay.
Okay. We might need to take another break, so we'll just get to digest that. But as it is, we don't have so much time, so I guess we'll skip that break. All right, so quickly, I'd like to have our last words, then we'll have our singing. Those of us on the bathroom singers will also form back up, like we're really good.
Yes.
So, we want to ask you last questions, or I would like to even ask you a very quick question. So, it's World Children's Day in Nigeria. What would be your final words to children, the government, and the parents?
My final words would be
Think about your final words. Pandey, your last words going forward, because we need to take a step forward, especially as a new government is coming on board. And like for programs like ours, the initiatives like ours, I mean, what would be your big picture to see that programs like ours, the new government come in, and what you do is all connected to move us forward?
So let's start with programs like ours. You see, we're never going to solve the problem in Nigeria to get all children into school by the end of the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. So while we try really hard to get some children into formal schooling, we really need to strengthen non-formal education. So we're in the business of learning now, not just schooling, right? So if you can provide education to a child by TV, by radio, by digital, through an integrated Quranic school, yes, we must do it. So we're calling on the government to say finance, accredited, and scale good quality alternate learning, not just through formal schools. This is how we're going to crack the out-of-school problem in Nigeria. To the government of Nigeria, I would say, the new administration, this is your moment. Take it and do right by children of Nigeria. If you want to develop the human capital that is going to drive the economy, and that is going to make a happy citizenry, a peaceful society, then you need to invest more in education.
All right, so Irene, I'll ask you the same question, and also I'll answer your question. When your children graduate, what happens to them from there?
Okay, so let me start by answering the later question. So this is our 4th school year. So our first set of graduates will be graduating in 2 years' time. One of the things we're building into their education is technical and vocational training, because, I mean, it was difficult for them to go to secondary school. So, I mean, what's the miracle about university? So we're looking at how, number one, they can have the right grades to earn scholarships and go to universities. But also we're looking at giving them an income stream where they can have work, they do skills that they have to trade with, that they can support themselves to send them to school. As long as we've been on this road, many of us that have university education did some work or did something to support ourselves. And so we're trying to institutionalize that. But for the incoming government, I just want to appeal to them to seize the moment. And one way I want them to seize the moment is to split the Ministry of Education and remove tertiary education from basic education, so that they can see what it is that we're talking about. Because as long as universities, tertiary institutions are tied to primary and secondary, ASU will always be louder than Nigerian Union of Teachers. So they need to split them. And do you know why we need to do that? The quality of any nation's, whether it's GDP or growth or potential, is its workforce. Nigerian children, our numbers will only be a blessing if we can harness it through the vehicle of education. So improved funding, improved investment in teacher education. And I dare add that our curriculum needs to go. So that's my last word.
Curriculum, that's very important. That's a very important one. So I would like to thank you both for coming around. I would like to thank you, Aaron Bangwell of the North Coordinary Day School in Kuje. Please, like you said, try to expand.
Yes, we have to.
You have to expand. Thank you very much for coming.
And now Panda has brought a new perspective, learning, not just schooling. So the North School has to look for other models of facilitating learning in communities that may not be schooling. So we're moving.
All right, Sabna Pandey, Chief of Education, UNICEF Nigeria. Namaste. Thank you. David Bright, it was really nice getting to do this with you. High five, please. That's how we roll. All right, girls, it's time for you to end the show for us or with us. We'll do this together. I hope it's a song we know. So, what are you singing? Are you undecided?
I've decided.
Okay, what are you singing?
No greater love.
All right, no greater love it is. And from me and the entire production crew of the Medley Show, it's bye-bye. I leave it in the hands of Success and Jenny. All right, let's hear this.